Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking with Tanya. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about communication. And this is something I wanted to bring up because this is something I've struggled with, and I feel like I still have some room for improvement when it comes to communication, but I definitely feel like I've come a long way in terms of communication. And I wanted to talk about what I overcame, how I overcame it, tips, tricks, maybe to potentially help someone else out there who has struggled with being quiet or socially awkward themselves. So when I was a kid, I was very quiet, even like as a teenager. I mean, it got better like as I got older, as I made deeper connections with friends, but in the earlier years, I was definitely a lot more quiet, and I just felt like an outcast. Like I felt like I was seeking connections that held a more emotional depth. Like I wanted to know more about people. What is it that makes you happy? What do you like to do for fun? Like what makes you angry? Your passions. And I'm not sure if I really found people with common interests to be able to talk about things with. So I just feel like didn't find anyone to align myself with. I just it was a struggle. And I didn't really have anybody to go to about my struggles. I felt very alone with these struggles. I had immigrant parents, so that came from Mexico, so their childhood was nothing like what my childhood was like. And they they didn't even have to worry about whether they wanted to fit in or not. They had to worry about whether they're going to eat for the day, or have food on the table. And so I couldn't go. I didn't really have anybody to talk to about these problems. So yeah, in high school I did finally make a couple friends that made me feel more comfortable to talk to, but in like the grander community, the bigger group of like kids, I struggled to connect with. I always felt like I had to be the funny one in order, or the entertainer in order to connect with people, not necessarily on a deeper emotional level, which is what I ultimately wanted to seek. I was hoping people ask me questions, be genuinely interested in what it is that I think about or what I have to say. I didn't really find that, which is okay. Everybody has their own journeys. I don't know what people are going through. I'm just sharing about what I was personally going through. Like I feel like I had a curious mind, and maybe I didn't connect because maybe it was the way I was raised. Like once again with the immigrant parents, or just like having not being able to have everything. I just like we struggle a little bit financially growing up, so I feel like I didn't fit in that aspect either. And I think uh part of high school is being I guess it's a popularity contest almost. Like people want to have the most friends, be uh the most seen of like what you have. I don't know. It's just a few one perception of what I made during that time. But yeah, I just feel like I had a very curious mind. I wanted to question things, and I had very many different interests, but not interest in the things that people I feel cared about. So, um, and also growing up with my family, I grew up in an environment where we were not listeners. We all just wanted to speak. No one really cared to listen. It's always about me, 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 me. Everybody wanted to voice how they were feeling, but no one really cared to hear the other person or what it was they were feeling, because they felt like what I'm feeling is more important than what you're feeling. So that was kind of the environment growing up in my household. It's definitely got a lot better now, but I think that also gave me the quality of becoming a good listener, because now I hear people out as much as they want to. And when I get encountered with someone listening, I'm just like, whoa, this is new territory. You're asking me a question? This is crazy. Hold on. Give me time to talk, because I don't know if I can come up with the words now. You're throwing me off here. But eventually this also led to people pleasing, the environment I grew up in school and stuff. So it's part of our human nature to want to fit in, to become a part of the group, and to feel included. And so people pleasing became a survival skill. in your immediate environment, if it's just school and family, like you have no choice but to try and fit in with those group of people. And so I wanted to be able to connect with people and relate, and the way I felt like I can do that is by pleasing, to kind of feel like I had to come up with the right things to say in order to take their interest, or to continue a conversation. And it didn't work out all the time, but it's just something I felt like I had to do to survive. I had to learn to adapt to the way I had to speak, say certain things, hold back certain opinions for fear of like causing any conflict or disruption. You just kind of have to be agreeable and easygoing. That's just how I adapted. Within my family, it's funny because they are very aggressive. We can constantly talk crap to each other, make jokes, roast each other, and we're like so loud with it. And if that part of me came out in school, sometimes like people would take it the wrong way, and that's something I had to learn the hard way. And I feel like I kind of maybe hurt feelings along the way, and it's something like I still feel guilty about. It's like, yeah, some people just aren't equipped to handle that. But in my family, it's just like how I lived. Everybody was just like always at each other's throats, coming up with like most wittiest insults. And yeah, it was fun. Don't get me wrong, but just some people don't like that. And some people like that. Some friends that I've made, I feel like even my brother have ADHD to where they lose their focus. Like I had to learn to speak quickly and get my point across quickly, or I'll lose their attention. And that it brought a little bit of a pressure, it made me feel like uncomfortable to be able to speak to them sometimes, and it was definitely difficult. Um, yeah, but it's gotten better now. I feel like it could also be considered a skill now to be able to talk to people in a variety of ways. I also have a brother who is mentally disabled, so that allowed me to speak with more patience, to slow down, and to be able to really try and explain what it is that I want to say. So I appreciate him for that, because he also became a very good listener, and I appreciate it. But yeah, so here are some of the tips that's helped me personally become a better communicator. So number one, self-awareness is key. Pay attention to how you feel when you speak. Ultimately, my goal in life, just in general, is to have peace in here. So you can tell when you're uncomfortable, or you don't want to talk, you're shy, because it's like your nervous system is now wired. You're rattled, right? You're not at peace. And you want to feel comfortable. You want to feel at ease when you talk. So listen to your body. Listen to the way you tense up, or I mean, feel the way you tense up when you talk. Like you're nervous. And have compassion for yourself. Ask yourself, why are you feeling this way? Maybe you're talking to the wrong people, and if you can speak up and tell them like, hey, I feel like I'm not talking enough, or I'm trying to practice on my communication. And if they can't accept that, then yeah, you are talking to the wrong people. I would have friends that I back in Cali used to hang out with all the time, and I used to bring up like, yes, I have a stutter. I'm really focusing on trying to speak more in my mind, and they were, made me feel completely comfortable. And that's just like, what better feeling is there than that? So it allowed me to have the space to be able to practice my communication. And sometimes that's just what you need. Believe in yourself. Have confidence in what you're saying and mean what you say. Sometimes I would hold back, or like I wouldn't know what to say, and I would sometimes, when people would give me the time and space to even talk, I would it would just throw me off for a curveball. Like I said, I just was not expecting that, and I feel like it would give me more anxiety of like, oh my gosh, I have this time that I'm not used to be able to articulate my thoughts. But the more you practice, like I said, the more you'll get better at. Like communication is a skill, just like anything else. You're gonna suck at it at first. Might as well get over it, right? Start and continue doing it, and you're gonna get better, because you're not just gonna be the best communicator overnight. So come to terms with the fact that you're gonna suck at first, but be graceful with it. Have compassion for yourself. You're like, you know what, this is what it is. I'll get better at it eventually. And then what you can do is reflect, journal, back on what you said. Write it down. Like, what didn't you like about what you said? What could have you said? What did you want to say but didn't? And how can you have worded it better? There's something that I like to tell people is like, sometimes people are very defensive or argumentative, and you want to tell people to back off, you're annoying, shut up, whatever. But everything that you can say that's offensive can always be reworded in a nicer way to get your message point across while still being respectful and kind. You don't have to spew out hate in order to get your message across. And like an example could be, or shut up, no, you're annoying. Like, hey, I really just want time and space for myself. If you can give me that space, I would appreciate it, and I can get back to you later. One thing I started to enjoy saying is like, I'm overstimulated. So you're making it about yourself. Don't, throw it in their face, and because then they get defensive. You want to disarm them. You want them to feel safe, and you want to find a resolution. You don't want to make things, more difficult. You want to be able to move past what you guys are going through and find a solution. So yeah, sometimes I'll be like, I'm overstimulated. It's more so like a joke, but at the same time, it's like I'm overwhelmed right now. So if like you can't get through to me, that's why. So yeah. Other examples could be like, shut up, or, and you could change it. Instead of saying shut up, it's like, I'm getting frustrated. Can we take a break from this conversation for a second? Sometimes, like, I notice that I'll get very angry in certain scenarios, and I would just be like, try telling the person that I need to take a step back. Like, I'm reacting at this point. What I'm saying is not what I'm meaning. So yeah, I need to just step away. Or maybe you only care about yourself. I'm feeling a little unseen or unsupported right now. Can we talk about it? So when people are selfish and you feel like they're not really taking you into account, you can go to them and tell them like, hey, I'm feeling unseen, So like I said, don't attack them. Just make it about yourself, and it disarms them. And you're closer to reaching an understanding. One of the books that's really helped me with communication is How to Talk to Anyone. 92 Little Tricks for Big Success in Relationships. So the one thing it's taught me is like people love talking about themselves. And what do you know? I'm a great listener. If you ask questions, you can really start to get to know the person, and they'll feel seen. To be loved. That's just one of the quotes that I've always loved. Is to be loved is to be seen. So I'm not saying you guys need to love each other, but you definitely build a bond when you see each other, for who they are. People want to be understood. So when you're asking questions and trying to pick their brain and why they think the way they think or do the things they do, that's how you get closer to people and build relationships. So I hope these tips have helped you overcome, any fears of communication, any social anxieties. So my tip to you is to speak to people like they're your friend, if they were your true friend, they would not take any offense to the things that you say, as long as you come off respectful, of course. But yeah, so if you talk to people like they're your friend, you have nothing to worry about. And I feel like the people who do take offense or who are struggling to accept that you're trying to better yourself aren't meant to be in your life in the first place. If you're someone who hesitates to speak up or struggles with confidence, I see you. You're not broken, and your voice matters exactly as it is. I used to struggle with stuttering, and I still do every now and then. Maybe you've seen it here. And this is not something you see, but I'm constantly having to stop recording, re-record, stop recording, re-record, because I'm struggling to get my point across, or too many long pauses or stuttering. So every voice has value, even the shaky ones. So I see you, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, keep having compassion for yourself, even when the people around you are not making it easier on you. Sometimes I would stutter to my brother, and he'd be like, today, Junior. And I just go and get me right here. I would struggle with it at first, but I would just be like, I don't care. I eat those now. If anything, he's giving me tougher skin. I love the guy. Like, I really appreciate him. But yeah, keep practicing, man. Don't let the haters win. Don't let them. So, like, I hope you've gained, whoever watches this. Honestly, my goal here is to help people. Like, I've been through a lot, and I'm trying to share what I've learned from what I've been through. And I'm trying to be the person for me that I wish I had when I was younger, going through these challenges. So, and for somebody else out there. So feel free to DM me, email me your stories with your communication struggles. Maybe I can help you, get through them. Keep growing, keep oversharing, and keep talking with Tanya. So this is the end of the episode. So have a wonderful, beautiful day, beautiful people. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Peace out.